Awesome Sprinkles.
YouTube Awesome Writer here. Last night we had the debut of the official Avataro Sentai DonBrothers trailer and the first press conference, so we have all of the nitty-gritty details we need to know for the beginning of the series. I'm going to talk about the trailer first, just kind of discuss the visuals we see and my thoughts on them, and then I'll kind of discuss all the character descriptions and breakdowns and go into a little more detail. Oddly enough, this trailer kind of almost felt like just an expanded version of the teaser I talked about the other day. A very simple look at the main characters. Now, of course, we see Don Momotaro, but we actually get to see the actor this time. We get to see the suit in action, which we've already seen before from, Zenkaiger in general. We get to see Saru Brother in action, both the actual cast member and the suit kind of swinging from a tree, I believe it was. And Oni's sister, those are the three regular physical suits. And then Inui Brother, which is the little Sonic character guy. He also is actually a human character that transforms into this little Sonic character, and we get to see him in action, and he's like the most CGE one. I'll get to what I mean by that in a minute, but it's not as bad as I thought. Does it look great? No, but it's not as bad as I thought, and he might be my favorite just because of how adorable he looks. And then you have Kiji Brother, our first male Pink Ranger, which we get a look at. Again, human actor and the suit actor. All 5 of them have human actors, which is an important thing. But with his, we get a look at the CG version. It's the one that looks like it's on stilts, right? But we also get a look at, it looks like they made a physical suit for it, because there's a shot where it looks like, it's just like the top up, but it looks like they made a physical suit for it, so we might see that in some shots, which is nice. There's a chance they could have done that for Inui Brother, maybe they made a little puppet. I think that would actually be funny. It would look pretty bad, but it would be funny if there were some shots where they're they have it talking and they're holding it and puppeteering it. But seeing the physical suit for Kiji Brother, the top half, made me kind of wish that they just made Kiji Brother another normal physical suit ranger, maybe with some slightly exaggerated proportions for the suit actor, and then just have the stilts be a power that he uses a lot, just because, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Also get a look at the supporting cast members, Don Momotaro's brother, who's, I guess, going to be in jail or something at the beginning. I'll get into that in a minute. But also, probably most importantly and most interestingly, a look at Kaito, because we knew from the rumors that Kaito and Juran are going to be in the series. No look at Juran just yet, other than the fact that Inuraidon is in the trailer, just like we've seen it before. But Kaito's there. He's dressed in a little waiter outfit because he's the owner of this place called the Donbro, the cafe. I'll be looking at the little details in a second, but he's the cafe owner. And he has a new form, Zenkaiger Black, which we knew about Zenkaiser Black, which we knew about from the rumors, which we see, which almost looks a little bit more like a negative image version of the character. I dig it. I think it looks pretty cool. All my thoughts on Zenkaiser aside, I always liked that suit. I'm a little disappointed just because I thought it was going to be almost like a Zenkai Red, where it was primary black with some gold, because a black and gold color scheme could look good. But at least this is different, and it's cool. And I'll get to this in a second, but apparently his personality is going to be different. Also get a look at the villains, which a couple of the monsters of the week, but also the main villains, look to be 3 humanoid villains, which actually look really cool. I really dig the look of them, both in terms of their design and in terms of the concept of having 3 humanoid villains. I think that'll be something kind of unique and different. And then, everything else is just kind of generic trailer stuff. Shot of Inuraidon, shot of the Changer, shot of the roll call. There's a shot at the beginning from the teaser, which is them with a bunch of fanfare with these people helping them with the roll call. I'm going to assume that might be for their debut, and they're not going to do that every week. At least I hope they don't, because at the end we get the traditional roll call with an explosion. Now let's talk about some more of the nitty-gritty details. I'm not looking down because I don't want to look you in the eye, but it's because I have all the stuff on here and I haven't memorized it yet. And to be honest, I will never memorize it. So let me talk about the character descriptions first. I'm just going to talk about the individual descriptions. I will link to the article from the good folks at Toku Nation so you can check out the cast and everything. I just don't want to deliver the cast names wrong. Delivery is all wrong. He's butchering it. He's so white. Okay, so Don Momotaro. Don Momotaro, a young man who arrived on Earth in a peach-shaped capsule as a child. He's a competent swordsman and he cannot tell a lie. Saru Brother, so the Blue Ranger. He is a professor and he has an analytical mindset. He fights with brute strength, spots his opponent's weakness quickly. Oni's sister is the youngest of the team, an aspiring manga artist, and her combat system is based on trickery. Inui Brother, our little Sonic character guy. He's a wanted fugitive at the start of the series, hunting down the one who committed the crime he is accused of. he becomes, you know, shorter and faster as a result of the transformation. I think that's interesting that he has kind of the most badass backstory despite being like this little Sonic character from a show that looked like it was on Foxbox. And then Kiji brother, he's actually the oldest of the team and he has a normal life compared to the others and he specializes in aerial combat. And there's a description, I'll find the other ones in a second, there was other descriptions I found that says he's married and he has like no dream of his own and he like is just kind of helping his wife's dreams out. I think that's interesting, the fact that he's married. I can't remember a time that happened in a core Sentai cast member. I get a feeling his arc's going to be about him finding his own dream though by the end of the series. Just kidding, sort of. I mean, I can just already feel the Sentai cheesiness and I'm getting a little queasy and it's early. Then there's also his brother, the one that found Momotaro as a child, and I guess he's at the prison at the beginning of the series also, and he's like a mirage. It's interesting that there's two characters that are in prison. I get a feeling he might know the Black Ranger. And then for the details on the enemies, you have, they're called the Brain Persons. Stretched a lot of brain cells making that name, didn't you guys? One that's a calm leader that loves painting. You have one that's a woman obsessed with human affairs. I'm going to assume just like human stuff in general, not like, oh, they're at the motel cheating on their spouse's affairs. And then a man who's fascinated by human emotions since he can't control his own. I wonder if that's going to be like he flies into raid or it's going to be silly nonsense. Probably a mixture of both. Forgot to mention, I'll at least say the names of the characters themselves. Don Momotaro's name is Taro Momoe. Coincidence there. I mean, obviously not. I'm just joking. And then Saru brother is Shinichi Suhara. Oni's sister is Kito Horaka. Inui brother is Tsubasa Inuzaki. And Kiji brother is Yoshi Kinjino. And I'm not going to try the actor names because, again, he's so white. Other interesting details from these other descriptions I found, like Oni's sister lives with her aunt who's a female detective, which could possibly play into the whole bunch of fugitive characters running around. The most interesting thing was the stuff about Zenkaiger, because here it says, you know, he works as a shop owner. Zenkaiger works as a shop owner, and he's similar to his main character, but he's also completely different. And you can kind of see that from the trailer. You know, just, we only get a brief look at him kind of talking like this, and then like a little bit in the suit, but he's got a little bit more of a calm attitude. Which is definitely interesting, because I'll be honest, you know, outside of the idea of seeing these new forms for him and whatnot, I wasn't that excited about Kaito taking over. Well, I guess I was also excited a little bit by the idea of a hybrid series that kind of continued some sequel elements, because Sentai's never really done that before. But I just am not a fan of Kaito and that type of character, and plus Don Momotaro also seems to be an always-on type of character, and the idea of having two Sentai leader-red crackheads running around streaking in my face was not exciting me. But if they're gonna kind of, you know, even him out a little bit, that's interesting, both because it'll make things a lot more tolerable, but also because I'm curious why that happens, especially as we're heading into the end game of Zenkaiger, and see if that explains anything, or whether it's going to be only explained at the beginning of this series. So I'll say that that makes me interested in general. So my thoughts overall, I feel like I'm not in too much of a different place as I was before all this information. Like, I'm base level excited just because I like to see what the new Sentai has to offer. I think that it's kind of a little bit more of a balance between the outside-the-box aesthetics of Zenkaiger and a little bit more traditional Sentai, which is kind of nice, because outside of the CG characters, it's actually nice that we have full human casts, because, you know, I like the Kikinoids just fine, especially Juran, but after a while they just became caricatures, and it kind of became just the show about these only few characters in Zenkaiger, so I'm glad we're actually going to have a full-rounded Sentai cast. As far as the CG goes, it could be worse. If it were me, I still wouldn't do it, at least with the level of CG they had. But as I've said in previous videos, the thing I'm worried about isn't so much the like CGI, it's just the tone of the series. I just really hope the series isn't just kind of an always-on dumb type of show like Zenkaiger, just because it gets exhausting watching the same show over and over again, you know. And I as I've said before, what's nice about Sentai is you get a little bit of a refresh every year. And the idea, and like, I don't hate Zenkaiger, I'm just kind of tired of it, and the idea of having to continue a show with a very similar tone is exhausting to me. So I'm more so worried about that, is the show feeling like just more of the same than I am about the CG characters. Like, again, I wouldn't do it if it were me, but that's far from my least concerns. I guess I also don't like the use of past Sentai powers, but other than that, I'm just hoping the show is good, which is a generic hope for every year, and I hope that it finds a way to differentiate itself from Zenkaiger and maybe have a little bit more depth and character stuff going on. But what do you guys think of our first full look at DonBrothers with the trailer and all the details? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to see notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.